This is episode 102 of the After Gambling Podcast. And in this episode, I need to talk about a few things. Hey there, and welcome to the After Gambling Podcast. You know me, my name's Jamie. I am a former problem gambler. Now I'm the host of this podcast, where I share my thoughts on recovery, prevention, treatment, trying to get into a lot of different things. Obviously, most people come here looking for help when they're struggling with problem gambling or somebody that they know is struggling. And I try to provide all that, but also some of these things that we talk about, just about life and character defects, things that were exposed to me first in GA, but also just things that you learn in life, things that we need to work on, continue to work on in our lives. Those are prevention things, whether it's for gambling or other things in our life. Now today, as I said in the intro, I just need to talk about some things, and this is going to be one of those kind of vent podcasts. And I think this is something we all need every now and then, is just to vent and get things off our chest. And I think so. The topic of today is just being transparent, being honest. And I will try to do this to the four agreements, to the best of my ability to speak whatever the phrase is in four agreements. I'm not even going to pause here to try and get it, because I'm just in the mood where I just need to talk about what's on my mind. And what's on my mind is this recent article that came out of Massachusetts. For those of you in the UK, Massachusetts is a new state with sports betting, but it has long had other forms of gambling and is known in the United States as kind of the premier, the best for problem gambling resources. The most money dedicated, a lot of money that goes to research. And I will stop and say that they've had really one of the most interesting research studies. Dr. Volberg, shout out to Dr. Volberg. Love the study, which highlighted the fact that problem gamblers aren't just kind of in and then they're in forever. Typically, people come in and out of problem gambling behavior, which we all know that, right? When we see that, but it helps have a study to verify and validate that thing, that we weren't always problematic in our behavior. And we'd have these moments where we're in and out. But neither here nor there, that's just a really good study. So I want to highlight the fact that a lot of good work has come out of Massachusetts in the past. There's an article today about the fact that now they have something like $24 million to work with, and the interested parties are kind of pointing fingers and looking around saying, where's the money? What's it being spent on? And nobody can quite put their finger on where it's going. Things like people are calling the hotlines or helplines and looking for therapists in the area, and then calling the numbers, and the therapists are either saying they're full, they're not taking patients, or they don't take gambling patients. And overall, the article was just very disheartening and frustrating to read from somebody that does a podcast on a shoestring budget. And as I've said from the beginning, this podcast has always been a labor of love. It's something I do because I knew it would help other people. And it was one of those things that kind of the momentum of that and getting the feedback. I love getting the not voicemails, but the direct messages, the emails. So if you found this successful and helpful in your life, please, if you want, shoot me a message, shoot me a DM. I always love to hear those because it really is what kind of motivates me, what keeps me going. Because I don't do this for money. If I did this for money, I would have stopped a long time ago. Trust me. And I'll share a little bit of that, because I went back, I'm watching and I'm reading this thing and I see all this millions of dollars that's just unaccounted for. And it got me thinking, I'm like, how much money, how much revenue have I taken in from listener donations? Which, if you ever want to support the show, you can go to aftergambling.com and hit on support and make a monetary donation. Not required, not expected. Small donations, if you got it, cool. It's really just a nice token of appreciation. I'm in a place right now where I'm financially secure in my life. It's not going to impact my life in a way, but again, it just feels good, right? And you do this and it's nice. It's kind of a token of appreciation, a thank you of sorts. But anyways, I looked and over the almost 5.5 years, there have been $755 of listener support donations. $755. Now, obviously, I went down and looked. I mean, hosting for the podcast is something I've always just kind of planned on paying out of pocket. It's like $15 a month. So that's a little over $1,000 over the 5.5 years, almost 6 years now. The hosting for the website, I just put that on. That's on my big account that I have for work. So that's not that. I obviously commit. I use my own personal time towards things, to developing episodes and promotion and recording the podcast, editing the podcast, doing all that type of stuff is just my own time, which obviously there's a trade-off cost of that, but it's something that I've like I said, this is something I want to do. It's my labor of love. It's something I enjoy doing. It helps me. Like I said, one of the biggest things, biggest benefit, this is not a financial benefit. I'm a better person. And like, it helps me think through my thoughts. Even this, where I'm extremely frustrated. I'm sure I'm going to say things that are going to upset people, but it helps to sort these things out. Brian Hatch always says, it just helps to talk. Talking helps. And if you haven't listened to Brian's episodes, go over, check that out. All In, one of the first gambling addiction podcasts. And I want to stop there and I guess say that this is not about me. This is about a bigger thing where there's this frustration, and I'll be the one to voice it. The podcasters are frustrated because we look around and we see our contribution. We know we're helping because we get the messages. We see that we've come up with maybe a better mousetrap, a better way to connect with the target audience that is shameful, embarrassed, doesn't want to talk to somebody, isn't ready to go to therapy, but they can put in earbuds. They can put in earbuds and be comfortable and listen and get this message, the messages they need from a GA meeting that they would only in the past have gotten from a GA meeting. And now they can listen to Brian's podcast. They can listen to Dave Yeager. They can listen to Christina. They can listen to all of these different ones. Fantasy or reality. I won't go down the list. I always say that, and then I start going down the list. They're all, if you go to aftergambling.com and look at resources, there's a list of all the podcasts that I know of. And if you have one and it's not on there, let me know. Even the ones out of the UK, a bunch of them haven't been up. But this is, again, is the beauty of podcast. I think Invisible Addiction with Alex, he hasn't done one in 2 or 3 years, I think. But all those episodes are still up. I believe he's still either paying for it or the hosting it's still up for that podcast is still available. The work that he did years and years ago is available and it's helping people. I'm sure people have listened to that today and that's helped them in their lives. And that's really the frustration that we have is that we've contributed. And one, there doesn't seem like there's the recognition, which just, it is what it is. It's just true. And then two, it's just, the thing that frustrates me is there's nobody that's reaching out and saying, hey, what are you guys thinking? What are you seeing? Why are you doing it this way? And it seems like you have maybe built a better mousetrap. How could you help us? What should we do? How could we tweak these things? We clearly understand the target audience. We clearly know marketing. We clearly are able to connect with them and build an audience. I mean, Brian's has way more downloads than my podcast does. Christina has this huge, she has over 1,000 people. It's probably close to 2,000. I haven't even checked it recently in a Facebook group. And yet we read a story and it's talking about how nobody's showing up for therapy. They literally have millions and millions of dollars earmarked for therapy and nobody's showing up to use it. And I'm like, why are we trying to put people on horses when we have cars? Is part of what my thinking is. And I understand there's a legality to podcast and online treatment and coaching versus a skilled, trained professional. I say at the end of every episode, you should go get professional help. There are things that we don't know. But as far as building a bridge and getting people to that, if this was used and if other podcasts, I know, not if they are, I know they are. I know that you're listening and you've been using this because I get messages. I talk to people that listen to the podcast, that listened to the podcast first, got comfortable, and now all of a sudden have a tremendous relationship with their therapist and give so much credit to the therapist for working through things in their own life. And it's really been that springboard that I would have never been able to do. I don't have the skill, I don't have the time, and frankly, the desire to work one-on-one with people at that level for that long. I have some coaching that I've done, but I'm always pushing people to get into that next level, to get a professional that can really, really dive in and do so much good work. And so I see that, hey, the podcast is actually a really good top of funnel, as we would call it in the marketing world. It's a very good lead magnet to bring people in and get them into therapy. Magical, right? So why aren't we putting more resources in there? If we're looking and we're saying, okay, nobody's showing up for the damn therapy, what if we used a different marketing tool? Hello, podcasters. And there's other things, even just going on Reddit, finding other things. Ask, be curious. I did a whole presentation at the NCPG about being curious. And I just feel like nothing ever happened out of that. Everybody said, wow, that was amazing. It was such a good talk. And that was 4 years ago. And it was just like, oh, that was good talk. That's our frustration. I won't speak for everyone else, though I do chat with them from time to time. We message back and forth. And I'm so proud of the work that they've done because I know how much work goes into it. And I just want them to be recognized. And obviously I want to be recognized and want to be appreciated. And that's so much of this is when somebody reaches out and says, hey, we see what you're doing. It's really good stuff. And obviously, like whether it's a financial backing or inviting them to then help out and on some kind of consulting gig, there just seems like there's so much opportunity. And there's a group of people standing here jumping up and down saying, hey, we know this. We have a pretty good feel for the audience. We're talking to the audience. We're connecting with them. They're sort of into what we're doing and what we're offering. Maybe we could work together. But instead, I'm reading an article about $18 million, $24 million, and we're not sure where it's going, what's being done with it, if there's any effect. I mean, when you got a list of basically dead ends, you send somebody, they finally get up the hope or the courage to call for treatment. And they say, oh, well, we're not taking patients. Well, I guess I'm back to the casino today. The stars have aligned. That's how gamblers think. That's what those podcasters would tell you. That we would see that and say, well, you know what? Maybe it isn't my time to quit yet. And it's wrong. It's clearly wrong. And I know that the treatment professionals, I'm not saying that Massachusetts, anybody in Massachusetts wants this to go this way. But the reality is it's going that way. It's right there in black and white. And so instead of pointing fingers, like let's try and figure out some better solutions. And meanwhile, also, just we need to start talking about where this resources and funding is going. There's going to be a ton more here in the United States. I already saw this go in the UK. Everybody starts fighting out over money. That's not what this is. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated to see millions go basically wasted. But this is only going to grow. And I'm seeing projects that I'm looking at, and I'm just doing this, laughing and saying, that's going to get that much money? We're putting $3 million a year into that campaign? Really? Like, what are our expectations? Hopefully we have really low expectations because it's just not going to work because of point A, point B, and point C. And I know that because I'm the target audience. I know it because I work with the target audience. It's just so simple, so straightforward. And yet then that state in a couple of years will be looking and saying, man, we squandered all this money and pointing fingers and blaming each other because there's no results there. You get a few hundred downloads out of something. So this is my frustration. This is something, like I said, I need to come on here and vent and really just highlight the fact that gambling, as it expands here, it does take all stakeholders. And I'm part of this in checking egos and checking all sorts of things at the door. And I'm sure that's part of why. I mean, I'm not the most agreeable on the surface. If you read the things I write, I am very critical. I get very frustrated by things. And because I do have outside work, I mean, this isn't what I make a living doing. I'm pretty straightforward and pretty blunt sometimes about things and say, that doesn't make any sense, or this is a pretty dumb use of money. And so I'm sure that doesn't really sit well with people. And I understand that is probably a barrier to entry to maybe asking to do work together, which I can understand, but hopefully we can get by because if you don't work with me, reach out to some of these podcasters. Reach out to some of the people that are creating content in the space that clearly are doing a good job, are doing exactly what you're hoping to do, which is to get help to people, throw the life rafts out, and then have somebody actually reach on and grab onto it and hold on to it and do so and all the way through into where they're getting professional help. It's not a replacement. It's just a better path. And that is my frustration. The podcasters have shown everyone a better path. It exists. It's real. It's now measurable. We can show you the numbers. And if we would just use podcast and Reddit and some of these other tools as entry points, off ramps, as Steve Ruddock likes to point out, which I love that. It's like you get people off ramps. I think we'd see a lot more success and we wouldn't be here bitching about who's spending what money and why are only 2 people showing up at a clinic. And then the clinic's telling people, oh no, we're not even taking gambling customers. We don't know anything about gambling. That is frankly bullshit. As always, I am not a professional. Yes, I am not a professional. I have no letters before or after my name. However, I'm really good at getting people to get comfortable reaching out to professionals. I have a track record of doing that, as did the other podcasters. We have a track record of getting people to understand the value of reaching out to professionals for professional help. So treat this as informational purposes only. Reach out to those professionals. Seriously. Like, we need people to reach out and use these resources. Otherwise, the money's going to go away. The money is just never going to be spent. It's going to be like Washington, D.C., where I forget, it was like $6 or $8 million. It just was never spent, which I'm going to move on from that topic. Yes, get help. Use the resources. And if that, do it in your timeline, right? That's why you're listening to this. Do what's best for you, but don't wait too long. We all just want you to live the life that you want to live and enjoy it, because I'm at that stage. And that's where I guess I'll close this by saying I have this kind of freedom now. It's probably unhealthy in some ways. I'm getting to be that older man. I'm 41, and my career's going well. My relationships are going well. I have great relationships with my kids. And frankly, I'm at the point where I'm going to say what's on my mind, because I've had so many times where I don't say what I'm thinking, and it only leads to bad things. I'll try and get better at delivering it in a nice way. Although I think if anybody listens to me long enough, or whether it reads enough, you understand what my intent is, and there's always good intent. So hopefully that comes through in it. But I guess that's all for now. Thank you for listening. Like I said, if you want to go and support the podcast, aftergambling.com, I think it's /support, but you can just go. It's up at the top. You can hit support. Also, go check out the other podcast. It's under the resources section, I believe, on the podcast. Actually, let me here. You can listen to me type as I go to the website to find out exactly where it is, which I should know. Get help. Get help. There we go. It's the second one down. Other Gambling Addiction and Recovery Podcast. It is actually aftergambling.com/ well, that's too much to read. So yeah, just go to the website and find it. And there are, let's see, I'll read them all off. All In, Gamblers Addiction, the Addicted Gamblers Podcast, The Broke Girl Society, Fall In, Fold'em, Fantasy Reality, Hello, my name is Craig, All Bets Are Off, The Invisible Addiction, The Hidden Addiction Podcast, The Problem Gambling Podcast, 321 No Kidding, Voices of Problem Gambling Recovery, and Ambitious Addicts are the ones that are up there. Probably some more now. Like I said, got this whole group of people that are proving successful, have a successful model. Let's start using it. That's all for me. See ya.